7 tips for bipolar psychosis. Specifically, what to do if you're new to the world of having bipolar, psychosis, schizoaffective disorder, anything in the realm of manic episodes or psychotic episodes. Okay, so number 1, just survive. I don't think this is talked about enough in the mental health care community, in the severe mental illness, social circles, whatever you want to call it, people you meet in the psych ward, people you meet outside of the psych ward. It is so rare that this is emphasized, and I want to emphasize this. Just physically, literally survive. If you can get through what you're going through without passing away, that's amazing. And essentially what that does is it gives you the opportunity later in your life to then do better, to thrive, to find a way out, to find alternative treatments, to basically, hopefully, enter remission. And also, if you're going to click away because I said remission as if psychosis is purely an illness, please understand, I also see it as an altered state and part of the premise of Mad Liberation, which is a beautiful movement that's currently blossoming that suggests that people with severe mental illness are basically misunderstood and we have an important brain type and we don't deserve to be subjugated by the system we all live in, which is what happens for the vast majority of us, if not all of us. So there's nuance in how I see it, and please just survive. If you can get through it, you can thrive later, okay? Second of all, your relationship to your diagnosis, your relationship to your symptoms, and to your symptom patterns. So what are your cycles? What are your signs of mania? What are your signs of psychosis? Your relationship to treatment and your relationship ultimately to your longer term severe mental illness health outcomes. All of those things are profoundly personal, okay? You're going to develop. So I'm 33 years old. I'm almost 34. My first psychotic episode, manic and then deeply treatment-resistant psychotic episode, was 15 years ago. I've been pretty much in remission for about 10 years. I've been fully in remission for about 8 years, and I've been doing really well for like a couple years, the past couple of years, depending on perspective, but relatively speaking. Trust me when I say the trajectory between the time that you first experience this horrific crisis, right? That you first go through these episodes, the confusion, not knowing what is this, am I going to be okay? All of that. And your progressive adulthood, or if you have a later episode, some people, this develops in postpartum. Like there's so many different ways this can happen for different people. But basically the subsequent decades that you will hopefully live, I'm sure you will, just do it, there will be such a deeply personal relationship that evolves to how you see yourself as someone with a severe mental illness, to how you see yourself as someone who in other times and places and communities might be labeled as an oracle or a seer or a myth maker or storyteller or any number of the roles and jobs sociologically that we've held throughout the course of history. Okay? So I'm really getting into metabolic psychiatry lately. That's a whole other thing that I would never have even let myself learn about until 10 years after full remission, right? Like timing, I'm going to say point number 3 on this. It takes time. The passing of time is ultimately the elixir for mental health recovery, for surviving severe mental illness, and also for developing your relationship, your personal connection to your brain, to your mind, and to how you see what is deemed in capitalism or, current society, especially in the United States, as a pathology, and absolutely feels like a pathology. It's definitely, like, my experience of it was 100%, it was a medical crisis. There was no sociological framework that gave any room for that to be mystical or, whatever. It was terrifying. And it was also deeply medicalized and pathologized by, like, the police and the legal system, all those structures that put us into legal holds, or that, you get arrested if you're acting erratic or whatever. Our brain type can at times feel very demonized by this society rather than revered or honored or even just respected in, like, a basic way, which I feel it should be. That's also, to me, part of mad liberation. Mad liberation is just saying, I'm not going to try to summarize it. I feel like I can't even accurately summarize it, but it's like a political movement that's about human rights for people who have this brain type. Okay, so we went through the first three. Number one, just survive. Second of all, I forget what I said. And then third of all, second of all, it's so deeply personal how you relate to all this, to your treatment, to your diagnosis, everything. And then third of all, it takes time. Time passing is the elixir that will heal you. And also that will even give you perspective to know how you feel about yourself, about your brain, all that. Okay, 4. Yes, there is a social element. There is an element of, like, you might end up friends with more bipolar people. You might end up really appreciating the company and companionship of other people who have experienced psychosis. It's like, I'm going to be honest, the way I hear war veterans talk about their experience of war, like, no one who hasn't been through deep, real psychosis, like sober psychosis, I'm not talking about drugs, I'm talking about real, like, full-on months and months and whatever, deep psychosis, that is such a profoundly earth-shattering, terrifying, fundamentally horrific experience that anyone who hasn't been through that, like, the only great friends I've had that truly understand me after the psychosis and the multiple episodes, whatever, are people who are either super open-minded and really compassionate and, like, politically woke and, like, down to be like, yeah, I can never understand your experience of that, or people who've experienced it. Some of my favorite friends I've ever had, or some of the other really, really amazing, lovely, close friends I've made throughout this time and have kept up with throughout this time are also people who maybe have similar symptoms but aren't seen in the same way. So they might be in different communities or coming from different perspectives, or maybe their symptoms weren't as severe, but they, like, kind of see things sometimes, like, that kind of stuff. So yeah, that's the 4th point. Just know there are going to be changes in your life. Also, not true for everyone. Some people find their way, like, point number 5, everyone's experience is vastly different. So although we're all in this similar collective, this similar boat of people who anthropologically used to be seen as oracles, and currently under capitalism are seen as, like we have less human rights, point blank period. Like, there's almost no other group that automatically loses their bodily autonomy upon discovery for doing, mind you, nothing wrong. Like, you don't have to do anything wrong. You just have to be psychotic. Like, people think you're scary, and that, like, it's so horribly unfair. And again, that's one of the only groups that is truly still, again, across demographics. Like, we exist in all demographics, all gender, race, ethnicity, sociology, religion. It doesn't matter who you are. There's people of us in every group, but across groups, we're, like, totally used as a scapegoat and demonized. And that's unfair. That's also, like, a diminishment of human rights that we don't deserve to experience. I would even say, and there's evidence to support this, that we are some of the most creative, statistically more creative on average, statistically more intelligent on average, and in my lived experience, not statistically, but just like anecdotally, we're often very compassionate, empathetic people. So it's really sad that we're not more valued. That being said, point number 6, absolutely spend time seeing the benefits. Spend so much energy finding the silver lining. What are the beautiful things that you've gained from this experience? Even if you're in the middle of it, first of all, if you're in the middle of it, just survive, dude. Just get through it. Second of all, once you're through it, find the beauty, okay? Your life is beautiful, even if it's not. Even if it's not. We are some really trippy, intense brains to go through what we go through. And I need you to find the beauty in that, because not everyone will always find that beauty for you. There are some people that live in this world, many, that are just straight up judgmental. There are people who want other people to fail and fall for literally no good reason, right? Okay? That sucks, but that's true. There's some like not great people. So you have the job and the responsibility of seeking the silver linings, seeking the beauty in your brain, in your condition, in your mind, in who you are, even if hopefully you achieve like some form of remission, if you get into a place where you're functioning well. Even then, I really encourage you to find the magic and the love and the insight and all the gifts that you received from these experiences, okay? Because it is horrific. And also, a lot of people don't understand how truly horrific it is to lose your bodily autonomy at the hands of essentially the government, okay? It's a legal hold. That is like, it's not from friends and family. I think people don't understand that when like people are describing like hospitalization and psychotic episodes and like being like all the trauma of it, getting handcuffed, injected, all this weird medical shit that they do to us as like the perfect scapegoat for capitalism. And I think people think it's like, oh, you're going to treatment. It's like, no. A lot of the times we're put in legal holds by the government. Like this isn't necessarily coming from like people we know. Like this the cops can do it. Like that's who enforces the mental health care system is the cops. Like, and it's so shocking to me that this is still just under the radar. Like every time I walk by the psych ward where I was inpatient in many different psych wards, unfortunately. I mean, there's good and bad to that, right? I didn't die, so that was beneficial, obviously, but like it was horrific nonetheless. Whenever I walk by, there is one near where I live, not near where I live, but in the city I live in, that I was actually inpatient in for many weeks that was like really bad. Like I was like, had brain damage in there, catatonic in there, whole 9 yards, deeply psychotic, treatment-resistant psychosis. And when I go by there, like if I'm ever near there, I will absolutely pray for everybody still locked in there, like locked unit inpatient facilities. They don't let you see, but it still blows my mind that we can't even go outside, the majority of us, when we're in these situations where we're, as adults, forfeiting our bodily autonomy to a system that decided that we're not good for some reason or that we're dangerous or whatever. And also there's a lot of evidence that we're not that dangerous. Like often people with severe mental illness are actually statistically more likely to be victims of violent crimes than perpetrators of violent crimes. So really understanding that most of the framework that villainizes us is essentially propaganda. And it upholds these same systems that are evil and violent to everybody else, right? So it's just another kind of piece of the puzzle. So again, all the 6 points I already said. And then the 7th point is, I actually recommend once you kind of get through it, once you allow the elixir of time to kind of heal and you start to see your personal relationship to diagnosis, you see the social aspects and kind of find your footing there. And you find the upsides and the benefits and all this, you achieve remission, hopefully. I also encourage you, and this is point number 7, the final point, find your place in the world in relationship to your brain type. So this is such a massive experience for most of us. And even if it's not, even if you have so many other ways you define yourself, which I encourage, that's amazing. just understand that you're not alone in the suffering and trauma that this creates, right? That this enforces, essentially. This is part of a greater system. This system of denying people basic human rights for bad reasons, for truly unjust reasons, it's connected. The mental health thing, the psychiatric industrial complex, the carceral care system is how Mad Liberation speaks of it. Because it's a carceral care system. We get locked in there. It's enforced by the police. When you allow yourself to kind of zoom out and have this holistic view, like, oh, this is a systems issue. This isn't personal. This is very much intrinsically connected to everything else going on and to all the other ways that people are sometimes in this country or in these economic systems losing human rights without good reason. So take off some of that responsibility, your job and responsibility in having this brain type, in having these traumatic experiences, presumably, but certainly the brain type. Your responsibility is to survive, number one, to figure out your relationship to your diagnosis, to find your social footing, to find the silver linings, and to stay physically healthy if you can, really, truly, and also to build your life how you want it to be with your brain type. That being said, you're not responsible for the fact that they villainize us unjustly and unnecessarily. So find that nuance, and that might take years, okay? That could be a long-term project, but really understanding all of this is part of a larger picture that emerges when we actually examine the systems at play and how people are treated, okay? I love you. You're gonna be fine. It's gonna be great. You're gonna be better than fine. Things are gonna go well. And I need you to trust that, okay? Yes, it is a journey. Again, time is like the number one variable for coping with a marginalized brain type, essentially. But I really want to encourage you to emphasize your survival first and foremost, and then find these other layers in how you relate to yourself, to your mind, to your brain, and to your life in general, as well as the topic in general. Your voice is needed. You being healthy and present is helpful. And thank you for watching this video. Please share it with anyone you feel would benefit from this. This is just a little tiny bit of the many things I've learned on this journey, but I really, with my whole heart, hope this has felt helpful, uplifting, inspiring, and a little bit encouraging for what can feel challenging at first. But just know it will get better. It's worth it to kind of just get through it. And yeah, your voice is needed too. So I believe in you, and good luck, and be safe, and I'll see you next time. Okay.